I feel like this could have been easily the first one in the sequel. It's always hard to do the third sequel. The third movie always kind of like, Hey folks, welcome to Joel Reads Bible. I'm Joel and I read Bible so that you don't gots to. We are at the final part in the Balaam and Balak saga. What's going to happen? Is Balaam going to bless or curse Israel? Is Balak going to get the curse that he so desperately wants? Or is someone going to kill Balaam at some point? Or is Balak going to be killed? Or is Israel going to come and kill Balak? Or who's going to die? Like at some point, someone has to die, right? Like someone's got to die, right? It's Bible, so somebody should be dying. Anyway, I'm really excited to see what happens. Last time, Balak was seeing if God would want to curse people from a different location. A little silly, but certainly not something I'd put past Bible. Would you? So anyway, let's get right into it. See what happens here in Numbers 24. When Balaam saw that it pleased Yahweh to bless Israel, he didn't go, as at the other times, to use divination, but he set his face toward the wilderness. Balaam uses divination. Interesting. So you can use divination and God will speak to you, which is probably similar to what Joseph was doing. He was using divination as well. Yahweh responds to divination. Like he will play with that. But he's not a super fan because he likes that the Israelites don't do that, even though they have. I really find this curious, the relationship that God has with people and the way that the supernatural world is supposed to like kind of interact with God, and what are the things that Yahweh needs to do, and what does he respond to when it comes to people. When you get into Christian doctrine, they try to make it very clear. Obviously, there's many different doctrines, but by and large, it'd be like God's the one true God. Anything else is demonic. And I think that comes from the New Testament, which is like a reworking of the Old Testament, obviously. The sorcery, witchcraft, all that stuff, demonic. And then God is the separate thing, and that's just like prayer and whatever. But here we're having some sort of use of divination, which feels like it would be sorcery of some kind, wizardry or something like that, which seems to be something that you'll get stoned for, or killed for at least in Exodus. And yet God is still talking to Balaam. So I'm 100% completely confused by the way this is supposed to work. But it could just be that like the laws in Exodus are one idea, and then this is like just a different story that comes from a different source that is interesting in its own way, but doesn't really match the laws in Exodus. And that's just because the Bible is inconsistent. It's not written by one person. It's not univocal, as they say. So you can't really expect it all to work together. That's fine, unless you are forced to believe it dogmatically. Then you're out of luck. Balaam lifted up his eyes, and he saw Israel dwelling according to their tribes, and the Spirit of God came on him. It came all over him. He took up his parable and said, so this time he didn't have to go meet with God. He just like has the answer right away. Balaam, the son of Beor, says, the man whose eyes are open says, who hears the words of God? Who sees the vision of the Almighty? Falling down and having his eyes open, how goodly are your tents, Jacob, and your dwellings, Israel. Didn't Trump use the term goodly? Maybe Trump is a Christian. As valleys, they are spread out, as gardens by the riverside, as aloes which Yahweh has planted, as cedar trees beside the waters. Water shall flow from his buckets, His seed shall be in many waters. His king shall be higher than Agag. His kingdom shall be exalted. God brings him out of Egypt. He has, as it were, the strength of a wild ox. He shall consume the nations, his adversaries, shall break their bones in pieces and pierce them with his arrows. He couched, he lay down as a lion, as a lioness. Who shall rouse him up? Everyone who blesses you is blessed. Everyone who curses you is cursed. So that's kind of a nice poem. Now I'm curious about King Agag, because I know that King Agag is going to show up 400 years from now. So I don't know that, this might be like an older King Agag. They might reuse names. So, and the other thing that I was going to laugh at is, like, I know this is a translation, it's not the original, but like, water shall flow from his buckets. Like, buckets is just not the right, beautiful term. Because I know that this part is poetry. It's written, the way it's laid out is very poetic. This is a fine poem, probably amazing in ancient Hebrew. Balak's anger burned against Balaam, and he struck his hands together. Balak said to Balaam, I called you to curse my enemies, and behold, you have altogether blessed them these 3 times. Therefore flee to your place now. I thought to promote you to great honor, but behold, Yahweh has kept you back from honor. Balaam said to Balak, didn't I also tell your messengers, whom you sent to me, saying, if Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold, I can't go beyond Yahweh's word to do either good or bad from my own mind. I will say what Yahweh says. Now behold, I go to my people. Come, I will inform you what his people shall do to your people in the latter days. Now it sounds like Balaam is going to tell him how screwed they are. But before we get into that, this is a very interesting passage which seems to really tell us what Christians have become. Now, keep in mind that I've been sort of showing, I think, obviously how this book can't be true. It's a silly book of child stories, right? We had a talking donkey a couple of chapters ago, and just tons of incoherence in just this saga's narrative alone. This prophet, or I guess I don't think he's a prophet, but this divinator, Balaam, he's saying look, I can't go beyond Yahweh's word. I can do neither good nor bad from my own mind. I can't even make that decision. It's really it's whatever Yahweh says. That's the only thing I can do. Is it good to bless Israel? Is it good to curse Israel? I don't know. I don't have a take. I have no opinion in this matter. You can offer me anything you want to offer me. I have to just defer to Yahweh, which in the narrative, if Yahweh's true and he's real and Balaam knows he's real, all right, you're just afraid of him. You don't want to go against him. I get that. For a Christian who you want to say that this God really exists, even though he is a character in a book with a talking donkey. And I know that I'm really ragging on that. I'm not going to say that for the rest of the book. We're still in the saga of the talking donkey. But he's also someone that never lies, but also lies because he says things and he doesn't do them and all those things, right? He kills people who ask for quail. He tortures people who want to drink water. He does these sorts of things. They're all ridiculous stories. He gives them so much quail and they actually carry 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of quail to their camp in one day. These are just ridiculous. That's one person, by the way, per person. These are ridiculous stories that cannot possibly be true. There are giants who are the size of basically buildings because people seem to them like grasshoppers or something. It's just absolutely unbelievable, like literally unbelievable. But because of that, you can't say what is right and what is wrong. Were this book to say that God, for no apparent reason, killed like half of the children of Israel, you'd be like, well, they must have had a reason. I can't go beyond Yahweh's word to do either good or bad from my own mind. I will say what Yahweh says. And that's just giving your moral agency over to, in this case, an old dusty book of ridiculous stories. It's like just giving away, almost selling your soul. I don't believe in a soul, but to put it in terms that, the kind of Christianese terms, you're selling your soul to the character of Yahweh in a book. And that character is absolutely ludicrous. If it makes you happy, it makes you a better person. I don't think that that could possibly be true. He took up his parable and said, Balaam the son of Beor says, the man whose eyes are open says, who hears the words of God, knows the knowledge of the Most High, and who sees the vision of the Almighty falling down and having his eyes open. I see him, but not now. I see him, but not near. A star will come out of Jacob. A scepter will rise out of Israel, and shall strike through the corners of Moab, and crush all the sons of Sheth. Edom shall be a possession. Seir, his enemy, also shall be a possession, while Israel does valiantly. Out of Jacob shall one have dominion, and shall destroy the remnant from the city. He looked at Amalek and took up his parable and said, oh, is he looking? He must be like looking at where Amalek is or something like that. Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall come to destruction. He looked at Kenite and took up his parable and said, your dwelling place is strong, your nest is set in the rock. Nevertheless, Cain shall be wasted until Asshur carries you away captive. He took up his parable and said, alas, who shall live when God does this? But ships shall come from the coast of Kittim. They shall afflict Asshur, and shall afflict Eber. He also shall come to destruction. Balaam rose up and went and returned to his place, and Balak also went his way. What was the point of that? What was the point of this whole friggin' saga? Like, was it like literally just another way of reiterating what's going to happen? Israel's going to win, okay? God's going to kill all the other nations. We know. We're aware, guys. We know that God's on the side of the Israelites, and that's what's going to happen. This is just like a creative way, and I would say it is creative. It's a fun way for the Israelites to kind of retell what's going on in their story, which I like, as a reader. I don't always want to just have Israel like wrestling with God and then I'm going to make you a great nation. This one is more of a, hey, these guys are trouble. Can we destroy them through divination and magic using their own God? Well, turns out no. And they're also going to kill everyone. And let me give you a list, like a shopping list of all the people that these guys are going to get. That's a great way to inspire your people to be like, they're talking about us in other nations, and God's on our side, even when someone else is like talking about us and talking to God and sort of like got one of God's guys. So we're the best. That's nice for the Israelites to feel good about themselves. I feel like this could have been easily just the first one in the sequel. It's always hard to do the third sequel. You know what I mean? Like to finish a trilogy, the third movie always kind of like, there's just not as much going on there. there's just not as much substance. And this is one of those cases. But it seems like it is leaving it open for, some more movies because of all the people that these people are going to go and kill, right? So that it'll just be like, this was like Balaam and Balak, the trilogy. And then the next one, it would be like Israel versus the Amalekites. And that's like, it's part of the same franchise, but it's just like, anyway, you guys get it. All right. Well, thanks for being with me and reading along. And this was the shortest, most useless part in the saga. But hey, look, we didn't have to take too long with it, which is also nice. It's nice when that happens. Thanks for joining me. And we'll see you next time. Please do subscribe, like the video, and comment. And have a great, and also bye.